Hey, good evening, and welcome to Bootcamp. I'm your host, Vic Senese. Have you on board today? Hey, if you're a one-person deal, this is going to be the show you don't want to miss. If you're a one-person controlling the stream and you're streaming, you don't want to miss this one. But I would like you to go ahead and hit that subscribe button because that would help me out quite a bit. So, yeah, this is to talk to you about how you can set up scenes. Now, I'm using a program called StreamYard, which is what I'm going to demonstrate how to set scenes up in. But scenes are available in most streaming softwares. I've seen them in Ecamm, I've seen them on OBS. Um, I'm sure they're on other ones, but they are a way to go from one view to the next view and set up your show that you can control with one little thumb on a button. I use my Stream Deck for that button. So without any further ado, I'm going to bring you over to a behind the scenes look at how I set up these scenes.
All right, so I'm going to go into Streaming Bootcamp here and go through my setups. I'm a one-man show, so I set up scenes, which you can see over on this side here. So I'm going to go over here and show you my first scene. I call this my, and I'm going to get my name out of there. I'm going to show you the first scene that I set up is what I call the green room. This is where I can bring other people in. So if I had a second person or maybe even a third person, they could come into the show that way. So the first thing I want to do then is start setting up my show. So green room, that's kind of like the waiting spot. What'll happen is once the show starts, it's going to play a little intro, which you've probably seen before. And then once the intro ends, I come to this screen, which gives me my, hey, welcome to Boot Camp. My name is Vic Senese. We got a really great show for you. Now, the next scene I want, and I've set this one up, is to kind of show what places we're broadcasting to. And the way that's done is by creating this background, which is a overlay. So I'm putting this on top of everything else. So behind me is my studio look, so to speak. Here's me, and then this is an overlay. It's on top of it. And that's created by using something called an alpha channel. Now, I use Keynote to do that. So I'm going to set up an overlay, real simple overlay. This is just a YouTube, subscribe to YouTube type thing. And then what I need to do is turn off the fill. So there's no fill back here. And then I'm going to go and take and export this as an image file. Real important, images. It's got to be a PNG because that has an alpha channel built into it, which allows me to make the background transparent by clicking this little thing here. Transparent background, there we go. And we're just going to throw that up on our desktop real quick here. Back to our show here. So now I should be able to load that file in, which is right here, into the overlay. So what I can do now is put this overlay in instead of the other one. So you can see everything gets to shine right through it, but it's in the background. So if you want more, less, this is actually an overlay too, which covers the whole screen. So just think of it as being punched up over it. The nice thing is I can preset that up. So I've got my green room. That's where I'm at. Hey, welcome to the show. As soon as it pops through. Next, I want to put my new overlay up here. Hey, be sure to subscribe. I can point to it. So that's my second screen. Now my third screen could be anything if I had an announcement I wanted to make or something else, but probably want to just go get rid of that. So you can see now, these are scenery, side view, which this I would probably call my social because that's what that is. You can rename these in, so we'll just call this social. We'll save that. So pretty simple to do, just rename it. And then now I'm going to my main screen, which gives me a little different view. We can see that I'm kind of back further. I could actually push myself up further like that. So these are presets here that are part of StreamYard. You can create these however you want. You can customize them. But the overlay is something I'm added to it. There's two things I should describe. One is overlay, which is what you see here. The other is background, which is what you see behind me. So you can put whatever background you want or every backdrop you want the same way. Let me see if I can show you that. So actually I do have a background. If I take me out of this and I'll turn off my overlay, and this is the background where I've got my Streaming Bootcamp logo back here. So put myself back into that social one. So yeah, so you'd have a background, foreground. So this picture here is being captured from my camera. So it's kind of in the middle. All right, so there's my social overlay. I showed you how to make that. So now my next thing would be to go to my main show, which is just me. Gets rid of the social backdrop. Now, the next thing you can do is add other things that you want to have in your show, like maybe slides. So a lot of times I'm using slides, and on StreamYard, I think I've talked about how easy it is to do that, but I can go right here, slides and PDFs. I happen to have a couple different slides loaded up here. I don't know what they are, but we'll throw those in anyway. Okay, so this was something I was talking about. And now I've got this setup where it's me and the slide next to it. And it's under here under slides. And I'd probably want one more. So I can go here and add a new scene. And it's going to be a speaker view. And that's going to be for my closing. Rename. Whoops. Rename. So this is going to be my closing. Save that. And my closing is going to be just me. So I'm going to change that. And again, you can see where I'm changing some of these. If I wanted 2 people in here, you could set these all up ahead of time. So main, slides, closing, just me. Now, maybe I wanted to have a second person on the show. Okay, so I can go here and duplicate this. And now, instead of closing, this will be 2-person. So when I come up to here, I'm going to switch this to a 2-person view. Now, try to center me a little bit. So there we go. So now it's kind of more of a 2-person setup. And then I go to here where it's just me. So now these are our scenes. Everything is set to go. And it's going to play right through. And I'm not going to play the intro and stuff, but to show you. But then I've also using Stream Deck, which I talked about earlier, has a button so I can switch these by just pushing a button on the controller down here. So I can do this all with one thumb. Yeah, so it makes it pretty fast. So you can see here's our scenes over here set up. So we got the green room, our social, our main, our slides, show on stage, the 2-person, and then the closing, which is just me. And sometimes I like to run through them real quick, make sure everything's working the way it should. Yeah, that's looking good, looking good. So perfect. So now you set all that up ahead of time, and really the show runs itself. You can basically get into the show and just I'll do a really quick demo for you. So now I'm into my first show. I always start with the overlay turned on so that when it starts showing the movie part, and I'll do that a little bit, it's covering that up. And then I take the cover and I turn that off, the overlay off, because otherwise it'll come up to just me. Sometimes I've noticed when it kicks on, it'll sometimes show me, so I'm like looking like a deer in a headlight. All right, I'm going to stop that. So anyways, just a little back extra tip for you. So now I'm here. Hey, welcome to the show. Glad to see everybody joined us today for boot camp. Now I'm going to my next scene. You can see it switching over on the other side here if you're watching the full screen. Hey, be sure to subscribe to my show. Really important. And I mean that for you guys too. Subscribe to the show. And we've got a really great show today for you. We're going to be talking about whatever those slides were about. And take it away. And it could be somebody else who's in that spot. It could be, a guest that's actually talking. For me, it's going to be me. So there I am. Now I'm in a smaller section with that next to me. I could, even if I wanted, say I wanted to, I'm going to do another quickie here for you. I'm going to duplicate this. Maybe I want to really zoom in on the slide itself and not have me in the background. So I could do that too. Add that as a second thing. So, hey, I'm talking about this and I really want to mention that this thing here, show that really up close and get me out of it. And then I want to get me back into it. So I bring it down like that. Kind of a quickie way to do that. Sometimes you want to go even from a slide, maybe to your own picture again. So let's see, I got where's a picture of me? Here we go. So you can see how quick it is just by duplicating this. So there I am, and I can move these around, which is also kind of a neat thing. So I can get to talking about my slides, and then I decide, well, actually I want to zoom in on the slides and talk directly about the app, but maybe I want to talk to you really close up and kind of have a opportunity. Again, I'm just changing scenes. I don't have to go in there and fiddle around and find things. I got my finger on two buttons, forward and backwards. Backwards takes me back to that one, or I can go all the way over to here. If I was doing this where I wanted to go back and forth from this one, I could tell you the way I would do the scene. I would duplicate this, because I have done this in the past, where I go from the slides to the full slide to me back to the slides. So it gives you an opportunity to make it, again, kind of a smoother layout. So we're going to go back to these slides. Now I push the button and hey, it's the full slide. And now I push it again. Hey, it's me, full screen. And really taking up the entire screen, that might be an effect I want. Or I could change that if I wanted it to be my typical Streaming Bootcamp logo showing. It's up to me. Now I go back, I'm back talking about my slide with me in it. So I go from that from the full slide to that. And then maybe I want to go back to, me talking just big again. So I can go up and bring that up. Maybe I want to go back to a full slide with just the slide, not me talking anymore. Again, just by going up and me talking again. So you can see I'm switching around in this show the whole time by just pushing these two buttons. I'm going to want to make sure that at the very end, I end up on this last slide, because I'm going to be going into my two-person. So here I go. I'm getting back to that. And now I've kind of finishing up my talk. I want to bring up our expert. Hey, expert, how was it? Do you got any final comments you want to put in there? So I bring my expert up into it. So another cool thing that you can do. So really set these show up however you want. Make it a one-man show. And then when you're done, you go back to yourself and you say, hey, thanks for being on the show. And you go and you close it out. And that's how I run my shows, using scenes built into StreamYard. And again, I use my Stream Deck to make it just a 2-button push. And you don't even need a Stream Deck because they're hotkeys. You could set up a hotkey on your keyboard with the arrows and just going between two arrows to switch around. So figure out what works out best for you and let me know in the comments if you like this.
Yeah, so there you go. So if you're a one-man show and you're running it yourself and producing it and doing all of basically everything that's involved in the show yourself, you got to come up with a way to make it easy for you to get from one scene to the other, because ultimately what you want is to have this show look like it's very professional to the viewer. You want them to think that you've got a production company behind you that's doing all this, where, and a lot of the ones you're watching out there, even as good as they look, that's how they're doing that, by going from scene to scene. So you're getting these different views. It really can give you quite a different look. So I hope this was helpful for you. Put something in the comment if you have any questions or any concerns, let me know. And otherwise, tune us in every month. Every first Wednesday of the month, we do our little tips on how to stream yourself and be your own podcaster. And hopefully someday you'll be enjoying this as much as I do. In the meantime, have a great night. We'll see everybody next month.